What organ is shown? Thyroid. How do you call those circle? Okay, follicles. And then how about those pink homogeneous material inside the follicle? Colloid. What is the epithelium of the thyroid follicle? Okay, so it may vary depending on the activity of the epithelial cells. If they are not actively producing the hormones, okay, low cuboidal to almost squamous. However, if they are actively producing the two hormones, they can assume high cuboidal or even columnar in shape. However, technically, those epithelial cells are classified as cuboidal. So, simple cuboidal epithelium. And then aside from the follicular cells, what is the other population of cell that is present in the thyroid? Parafollicular. Okay. And then maaning atong kuan. Wala yung pointer. See kung may making. Okay. So you have the follicular cells lining the thyroid follicle. So this is the colloid material, which is the storage form of the hormones T3 and T4. Okay. So, as said a while ago, there are two populations of cells. So, the follicular cells themselves, the majority of the cells comprising the thyroid gland. And then these cells, which are not lining the follicles, because they are outside, immediately near the follicles, they are called the parafollicular cells. Now, what is the hormone produced by these cells? Calcitonin. What is the other name for parafollicular cells? What is the action of calcitonin? Calcium to the bone or calcium moving away from the bone?
Calcium to bone.
Calcitonin. What is the action of the hormone parathyroid? Calcium reabsorption from the bone. Bone from bone, calcium is delivered back to the blood. And then, the opposite will be effect of calcitonin from the blood to the bone. Those are the two cells that you should be able to identify for the histology of the thyroid gland. What makes the thyroid gland unique from the other endocrine glands? Extracellular? Very good. Extracellular storage. In the form of thyroglobulin, which is colloid. Now, lahat ng endocrine glands, okay? Lahat ng endocrine glands, the hormones that are produced by the cells are stored in secretory granules inside the cytoplasm of the cells. Now, unique for thyroid gland is that after being synthesized, T3 and T4 will added to T3 and T4 are proteins incorporated into the two hormones, and then afterwards it will be released as thyroglobulin, storage form of T3 and T4. Now, whenever the thyroid gland receives command to release T3 and T4, these cells will reabsorb what they have released to the colloid and then release the T3 and T4 hormones to the nearby blood vessels. That makes this endocrine gland unique from the other endocrine glands. Extracellular storage of the produced hormone. Okay, we are looking at the histology now of the pituitary gland. In this slide, you will be able to see three pars only. Three pars. What is the other name for the neurohypophysis? Posterior lobe or pars nervosa. And then, the anterior lobe is also called adenohypophysis or pars distalis. In between is pars intermedia. Now, exercise. there. Okay, so there are only three pars that can be seen in your guides. This one, the hypocellular, is the pars nervosa. And then this one, which is hypercellular, is the pars distalis. In between, you can notice there is a thyroid follicle. There are thyroid follicle-like structures. So this is now the pars intermedia. It will be composed of endocrine cells which are arranged like thyroid follicles. That will be your identifying point for the pars intermedia. In between, the pars nervosa and then the pars distalis. And the cells are forming thyroid follicles. Okay? It's similar, are arranged in follicles similar with that of the thyroid gland. Now, what are the things that you need to remember about the pars nervosa? Are there hormones actively produced in the pars nervosa? What are the two hormones released from the pars nervosa? Okay, oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone. Where are these two hormones produced? From the hypothalamus. Okay? So you have pituitary gland. Above the pituitary gland is the portion of the brain which controls the activity of the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus. The supraoptic paraventricular nuclei are the neurons responsible for the actual synthesis of ADH and oxytocin. And then from these two neurons of the hypothalamus, okay, the axons of the supraventricular and supraoptic paraventricular neurons will deliver ADH and oxytocin via their axons to the pars nervosa. That is why what we are seeing in the pars nervosa will only be the axons containing the secretory granules of the two. How do you call what is the specific term for the aggregates of the secretory granules in the
Herring bodies.
pars nervosa?
Herring bodies.
How do you call those bodies?
Herring.
Bodies. Now, unfortunately, it will be very difficult to view the herring bodies. What we will be able to see, however, are the supporting cells. These are still nuclei of one population of cells which are also present in the central nervous system. How do you call these cells? These are nuclei of supporting cells.
Pituicytes.
Glial cells. Very good.
Glial cells.
Glial cells. So they do not produce hormones. They are there to support the axons of what two neurons? Supraoptic and paraventricular neurons. Pars distalis is very cellular. Okay? There are 6 hormones produced in the pars distalis. However, in light microscopy, we can only identify 3 types of cells. So cells with pink colored cytoplasm are called acidophils. Those with violet colored cytoplasm, and then those with out colored chromophores. Let us view the appearance of the 3 cell types mentioned. Now, fortunately, the stains of this dye is very faint already. Very prominently seen here in this field, however, are cells with pink cytoplasm. They should be called acidophils. And then these are supposed to be the cells with violet colored cytoplasm. They must be called basophils. And then this nuclei, okay, so the cytoplasm surrounding this nuclei do not display any color. So that these cells, without any color in their cytoplasm, should be called chromosomes. So you should be able to see also many capillaries. Among these spaces are the lumen of the capillaries. What is the significance for the presence of the numerous capillaries? Even in the anterior pituitary gland or the pars distalis, you will also be able to see numerous capillaries. What is the significance for the presence of the numerous capillaries? Okay, so to receive the hormones, not to release the hormones. Remember, we are studying now endocrine glands. These glands are without or with ducts? Without ducts. The secretions are released to? Okay, to the blood vessels, to the capillaries. Okay, for the histology of the adrenal gland. Okay? So it will be very easy to remember the adrenal gland using the objective, the scanning objective. Okay? Now, the adrenal gland has two portions. Outer, so this must be the capsule of the adrenal gland. The capsule of the adrenal gland. So it has two layers of tissues. The outer cortex, the outer cortex. So, and then the middle, medulla. Now, medulla is Latin for soft. It is softer than the cortex because of the presence of these blood vessels. Okay, so in the cortex, it is solid because, as you can notice, it is entirely composed of cells and few capillaries also because this is an endocrine organ. So large blood vessels are present in the medulla. That should be your identifying point for medulla. Presence of large blood vessels. Now, the cortex is divided into three functional layers. These three layers are not distinctly separated from each other. They differ in function only. Okay? They are separated by function and not by their morphology, or they can also be identified based on their location. Now, immediately underneath the capsule is the zona glomerulosa. That should be the zona glomerulosa area. Immediately near the medulla is the zona reticularis, and then the thickest portion where you will be able to see cells which are arranged in trabeculae or columns is fascicula. Okay, let us zoom into the general appearance of each layer. Okay, above, we will be able to see the fibrous capsule, and then immediately below is the zona the capsule. Immediately underneath the capsule is the zona glomerulosa. One identifying feature for the zona glomerulosa, aside from its location, immediately underneath the capsule, the cells are arranged into nests. Okay? Kumpul-kumpul sila into nests. And then, underneath or next to the zona glomerulosa is the zona fasciculata. Okay? So, you will be able to see columns or trabeculae of endocrine cells in the zona fasciculata. Next zone is the zona reticularis. It will be very easy to identify the zona reticularis. You just need to identify the zone, the medulla. The medulla is identified by by the presence of the vessels. So this is the medulla, the vessels in the medulla. That zona should be the reticularis. And how do you call this golden brown pigments inside the cytoplasm of the cells in the zona reticularis? The name starts with letter L. hypo. Okay. And then these are the blood vessels in the medulla. So immediately adjacent to the blood vessels in the medulla are this catecholamine producing and releasing cells. What are the two major forms of catecholamine?
Epinephrine, norepinephrine.
Epinephrine and norepinephrine. So then how should you call these cells?
Chromaffin cells.
Responsible for producing epinephrine and
Chromaffin.
Okay. That will now be your assignment.
Chromaffin, di ba?
May point to it. Kaya hindi naman tayo
Chromaffin, di ba?
So identify the zone na pointed.
Chromaffin.
Reticularis. How about this zone? Reticularis. How about above the reticularis? Okay, how about this layer?
Dala.
Dala. How about these cells?
Chromaffin.
Chromaffin cells.
Do you have any question? So you may now borrow your microscopes and study your science.